It does feel that way, actually.
Yeah. I'm sure if you go to Diddy's house, it probably feels real weird. Probably feels weird walking around that house. Probably like, what happened here?
Yeah.
I bet there's some memories in that house.
At first, I didn't like him at all. You know, I didn't. I thought he was like...
Because they're always trying to make something of you and Puffy. Yeah, me and Puffy, me and Maxwell, tons of people. Me and Mark Anthony, who I did a duet with.
How did it happen? I started looking into her eyes more, spending more time with her, and I just fell in love with her.
On trial day 28 in a vase that happened in 2005, a plain white envelope was slipped into evidence during recess with the initials JLL stamped in all caps across the seal. Inside of it were 6 handwritten pages, 2 exhibits, no lawyer. That was Jennifer Lopez's voluntary affidavit, and it was suppressed until now. The judge let it in under protective motion, no disclaimers offered, and it opened with one heavy line with Jennifer Lopez's voice saying, "I was never invited upstairs. I was asked to build the stairs." What followed wasn't hearsay nor gossip.
Missing you. On December 27th, 1999, Diddy and Lopez were at a Times Square nightclub with Bad Boy Records artist Shine.
At the club, they partied with a large entourage, including Bad Boy rapper Jamal Shine Barrow.
They were in the VIP section. People were looking at them. Puffy was dancing.
And I had a gun.
Puffy was booked and held on gun possession charges.
In the summer of 2005, Jennifer had just wrapped a film and launched a fragrance. Her calendar was packed with brand deals multiplying, but she was starving for something real, off camera, off record. So she built it, a summer dance intensive for underrepresented girls in Los Angeles. No sponsorships, no PR team, no men in the room. She paid for everything herself, leased a small studio under a different name, held open call auditions, no agents, no handlers, just girls who could move, sweat, and stay present. It wasn't about followers or performance. It was about being in your body, in the moment. Raw energy, zero polish.
Making him look good.
Has the trouble affected the relationship?
It was a scary situation because you have, 12 people who hold the fate of your life. But I put it in God's hands, and He brought me out of it, and I give all glory to God. I'm forever grateful.
Wow. She showed up 3 times a week, no entourage, no makeup, just her and the music. It was sweaty, emotional, focused, and it worked. For a second, it was everything she'd hoped. Sacred, clean, untouchable. A space built for them, not for optics. And for a moment, she thought she'd created something safe enough to exist without explanation. She was wrong. The attention came fast. First whispers from her creative director. A label wanted in, big money, big press. She didn't even ask who, just said no. Then a package arrived with no sender nor return label. A clean corporate proposal, sponsorship for the movement from Combs Enterprises. They offered funding, wardrobe, press placement, but buried deeper, it didn't read like support, it read like surveillance. Jennifer read the sentence 4 times. This wasn't about uplifting girls. It was about watching them early, quietly, and strategically. They didn't want to help. They wanted proximity. And she knew if she let them in...
I, at that time, was cared very deeply for Sean, and we just didn't have the same kind of ideals about life and family and stuff like that, and just wasn't a good relationship for me.
According to Lopez, though, infidelity was
He felt like he loved me very much, and I know he did, and I felt like the same way. So if I was unhappy in some way, then I was the one who had to do something. Not him. He was doing everything he wanted to do.
She didn't hedge, didn't say she'd think about it. She said no. Direct, immediate. The kind of no that doesn't leave room for negotiation. But the energy around her shifted anyway. Not loud, not confrontational, but just altered.
Memories in that house.
Sounds rough, man.
Well, it's just amazing how many people on the Diddy party list that are supporting Kamala, too.
Yeah, seriously. It's like insane.
Publicly, openly, all in.
Yes. It's like J-Lo was like his ex-girlfriend. and it's like now deciding she's like warning people against Trump. I'm like, well, wait a second. So how many people did she warn against Diddy?
Right.
Oh, 0. Okay.
Right.
Well, maybe we shouldn't trust her opinion.
Did you see the Babylon Bees take on it? Did you see the Babylon Bee?
Babylon Bees awesome, but
oh my God, they're so on fire because the left can't say anything. Well, the Onion has been crippled.
The problem is that like
It started small. A black SUV parked across the street from the studio. Same model, same time. 3 days in a row. Her assistant caught it first.
In their opinion on this subject? Hell, man, it's crazy. Yep. So I guess you got a couple of questions for me right now, don't you?
Yeah, man, I got a lot to ask you.
All right, man. Hey, before you get started, man, I know most of this stuff is gonna be about the trial and everything like that, but I just want people to know that I want to say something regarding the whole trial that came out that I thought that was significant. And another content creator had somebody who came out and spoke on this stuff, and this is about D-Rock. I did a whole, you don't mind if I do this, Mighty, right?
Then came the stylist, a stranger showing up uninvited, claiming she was sent by a friend to offer wardrobe for the final showcase, except there wasn't one scheduled. Oh, she smiled. He told me that might change.
Find that post.
The woke ideology makes like humor illegal.
Yes.
So when like there's so many humor no-fly zones.
Right.
You can't make fun of anything.
Yeah. Babylon Bee had a thing about Kamala Harris. Diddy's ex-girlfriend urges Americans to trust her judgment. Yeah. By the way, you get to see how bad an actress she is too. That speech was terrible.
Like if she's gonna be warning people, why did she never warn anyone about Diddy?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The whole thing is so strange to watch play out. It seems like the Diddy thing was like an Epstein-type compromise deal, where whether he was doing it himself. Conceivably, people want to think that he's attached to some intelligence agency or something like that.
The following day, a label scout tried to slip in the back during a water break. Said he was there to observe potential. He wasn't on any list. Security walked him out, but the breach had already happened. One of the girls showed up in a casting database. She'd never even auditioned. Another was approached on the street by a stranger who claimed he'd seen her dance. And that's when Jennifer knew. They were already watching. They didn't need an invitation. The next time they reached out, it wasn't shadowy, but polished. A formal proposal, printed on company letterhead, mailed directly to her home. No cloak and dagger, just corporate clarity. The envelope read, Combs Enterprises. Inside, a letter addressed to Miss Lopez and the movement leadership team. Cute, there was no team, just her.
And knew who it was and went downstairs to tap me. The netizens say he was tapping me to bring me with him because they wanted to finish me off since I survived. I don't know, but I knew in that whole mass of people going through, you tapped me. We heard another loud, like, boom, 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 and he didn't know what it was. Everybody was terrified in that corridor. He abandoned me and left me and ran off to his own safety. Now, I know there was surveillance because why would you tap me? Which begs to say, in the onset of the aftermath, it's not lost on me that he said, hey, give me that tape.
It opened with praise, buzzwords about innovation, mentorship, youth empowerment. They called the program revolutionary. They wanted to give it visibility. They offered funding, full wardrobe through Sean John, and guaranteed coverage in vibe and essence. But halfway through, the language changed. We believe this platform may surface early-stage talent suitable for long-term mentorship relationships within the Comneys network. Jennifer read that sentence 3 times. Then she called her lawyer. Her lawyer caught what she'd missed. Buried clauses that allowed unannounced observers, waived participant consent, and granted the sponsor unrestricted studio access.
It's not that simple. Right. You know what I mean? There's something good about this person. I'm trying to help this person, and sometimes it's the broken parts in us.
This was clearly a pipeline, dressed up in empowerment language, using her name as a cover. She didn't finish the letter. She didn't need to. She knew what they were asking. Not to help these girls, but to hand them over. So she said no. Later that day, a text came in from a number she didn't recognize. We thought you were about legacy. She didn't respond. That night, something slid under her front door. Plain white paper, one line, typed in courier font. Every door you lock means someone else opens it first. She folded it once and tucked it away. Didn't tell her team. Didn't panic. But something in her settled. Colder, clearer.
For his own jollies, too. There was something sick about it.
Yeah. I mean, but the thing is that people in the music and entertainment industry had to know that Diddy was like abusing, kids, basically. And yet they still fed him kids. And like, where's the accountability?
There had to be rumors. There had to be. They
had to know.
Yeah.
They had to know.
Cat Williams is talking about it on
exactly.
Yeah, on that podcast.
But like who's feeding him the kids,
Right. Yeah. And what videos do they have of these people where they're willing to defend him, and they're willing to keep quiet about all this? Like how many people were compromised?
Then came the vanishing. It started when a fragrance campaign she'd been building for a year quietly shelved. A talk show booking? Gone. No explanation, no call. It wasn't a war, it was subtraction, not punishment, just removal. Not loud, but unmistakable. It didn't come like a storm, it came like fog, quiet and creeping. First, the fragrance campaign she'd been building for over a year vanished. No dramatic calls, no fallout, just scheduling conflicts that didn't exist. Then a talk show appearance, confirmed weeks earlier, got pulled, no reschedule nor explanation. Also, her inbox thinned, calls slowed, people she'd spoken to daily stopped replying. No anger, no scenes, just silence.
Gene Deal, happy to have you back on the platform,
Man, we've been here, done that. Let's do it again.
Yes, indeed, man. We got a lot to get into, man. There's a lot going on this week. The first week of Diddy trial. I got to get your opinion on that.
Yeah, man. It's a lot of people giving opinions now. At first, everybody was scared to give their opinion, and now they front and center telling all their stories, all they Diddy stories. He gonna break the internet. He gonna break YouTube. You see how many content creators is coming out?
The dancewear collab she dreamed up, featuring designs inspired by the girls, disappeared entirely. Then came the gut punch. Her choreographer, someone who'd been with her since In Living Color, just faded out. Months later, someone told her he'd signed an NDA with a Combs-affiliated brand group. That was the last time his name appeared next to hers on a contract. This was definitely subtraction, and she wasn't being punished, she was being erased. Slowly, her assistant found it wedged under the windshield of her car. White envelope, courier font, one word stamped at the top, inventory. Inside, a single sheet, a list of first names, some she recognized, some she didn't. Every girl from her program.
Come back at 1 o'clock. Capricorn Clark is testifying. She's getting emotional and back and forth. You know what I'm saying? And one thing I didn't like about her testimony, and it had nothing to do with her, it was this bitch ass nigga Paul. Paul was taking her and to take a lie detector test because somebody had stole some jewelry from Puff, and for 5 days they was locking her in this, taking her down to this dude who was giving her lie detector test. But I don't understand why somebody would have to get somebody a lie detector test for 5 days. But it's the matter of fact how.
But J-Lo understood. This wasn't a guest list. It was a readiness report. Someone had been tracking them, categorizing them, deciding what they were good for and when. That was the moment she knew the camp had to end. Not eventually, not after a farewell showcase, not with a speech, immediately. She shut it down that afternoon, canceled everything. No ceremony, no goodbyes, just a full refund and a message to her staff. The movement wouldn't return next summer. She hadn't built a sanctuary, she'd built a storefront. And they'd been shopping from day one.
Like how many people were compromised?
Yeah.
The whole thing is fucking crazy.
Crazy.
It's just crazy when you know, because the nutty conspiracy theories is like, oh, there's a bunch of pedophiles in Hollywood. And you're like, come on, that sounds too kooky. And then you see like the Nickelodeon thing and all these, and you're like, what the fuck? How much of this is real?
There's a lot more real than I think people realize.
Yeah.
I mean, part of it is like you say, like where, if someone's like a pedophile, they're going to go for a target-rich environment.
Right.
Obviously.
Like that Jimmy Savile guy from the UK.
Man, that guy was some next level. That was next level. And the BBC tried to hide that. That guy was one of the worst, like basically child rapists of all time.
Of all time.
Of all time.
Yeah. And looked like one.
He looked like one.
That's
like,
what's
honestly,
crazy.
If you had a poster of like, does this guy look like a...
Look, the creepiest
like
fucking
evil,
looking guy.
Evil child rapist. Then that 100%.
Made it to the grave. Like, got away with it.
Yeah.
Got away with it.
17 years later, an old email surfaced, buried in a forgotten inbox with the subject line, "You did the right thing." Dated July 21st, 2005, sent at 2:07 IEM. The sender said they'd worked behind the scenes on the proposal. Not directly under him, but close enough to know how it worked. 3 girls from her camp still got approached. The one who said yes
says that she witnessed Diddy assaulting Cassie after the alleged break-in at Buddy's house. What did she say to you?
Just absolute beating, like horrific beating, similar, I would say, in the context of what we saw in that Intercontinental video, that when they eventually got to Kid Cudi's home and there was a confrontation and there were words were shared, and Sean Combs had learned about the relationship with Kid Cudi and Cassie, that he just absolutely beat in a way that I think was grotesque and horrible. And even just some of the testimony you heard from Capricorn Clark throughout it, you can hear her voice cracking, her breaking down in many ways. And that continued in this testimony, talking about the alleged assault of Cassie by Sean Combs.
Hey, she's not dancing anymore. Jennifer didn't cry right away, she just stared. Still, silent. For the first time, she realized she hadn't stopped it, she just slowed it down. She never planned to testify. There was no subpoena, no public call, no legal team pressing her. She just walked into her lawyer's office with a manila envelope labeled 2005 rejection packet.
Go pick up that remote. Now bring it back. Now turn around. Now do this. He basically told her to get on one leg and bark like a dog. This is why other women are in the room. Cassie didn't say anything. She silently did every command he barked at her, and he was delighting, like, jump on one foot, do this, do that. She did all of that while other women were in the room, and then quietly left. And Diddy was like, that's why you bees don't have any men. And Capricorn Clark was like, you MFing right. Right, Table Talk with Mimi exclusive said, Tisa, you're the best. I looked up. Oh, thank you so much, you guys. Make sure you guys follow Table Talk by Mimi. So anyway, let me get back into this because you guys, this was so sick and sobering, right?
The original Combs proposal, the anonymous email, a list of girls she believed had been approached, and a letter she wrote that summer but never sent. It was addressed to whom it may concern, and it ended, please find your intentions returned unread. The court logged her submission as Exhibit 54A4, pattern documentation, witnesses with adjacent proximity. She didn't know what that meant. She just knew silence wasn't protection anymore.
And giving it to me, and I lived off of that money while I was healing. When I went through that doorway, it was very dark in that hallway, and all of a sudden, a man came upon me and tapped me on my shoulder and said, come this way. And when I turned around, he didn't tap anybody else. There were tons of people there. He tapped me. When I turned around and looked at him, I recognized his face instantly. The people who owned the club, the Burgos family, there were like brothers or cousins, and they all looked alike. When I turned around and looked at him, I recognized him to be one of them. He tapped me on my shoulder. Sir, come to the front of the room. How did you know it was me in the dark corridor? How? But for the fact that you watched me on a surveillance system.
Jennifer Lopez never saw what happened upstairs. She wasn't invited to Malibu. She didn't witness the ritual for girls. Girls who trusted her. Girls who believed she was their final stop before something greater. And in truth, she had been, just not the way she hoped.
Max and Emmy, they're now 6 years old, and it's a great picture of the 3 of you on the cover of the new People magazine.
Coming out this week, I think,
Jennifer,
yes.
When I saw this picture, the first comment I had, and it turns out that everyone in the room had the same comment, you don't seem like an animal person.
What?
No!
Oh, no. I grew up with dogs. I grew up with 2 Irish setters, a Doberman, all big dogs. I have 5 dogs now.
Really?
Yeah. I love animals, yeah.
Because we see you outside a lot, walking around in jeans and a cool t-shirt and some wedge heels, wedge sneakers, but we never see you with a leash.
No. But they're always outside at the house.
Yeah, running around.
I don't have to, like, walk them.
Yeah.
She didn't open the door for them, but she didn't stop anyone else from doing it either. She finished her statement with one final line and zero hesitations. I want my silence off the record. What effect will Jennifer Lopez's testimony have on Diddy's case? Leave a comment below. And if you want to see more videos like this, kindly hit like and subscribe.